Gentlemen, welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting of June 4th, 2020 at 6:30. First off, everyone that can, please stand for Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, visible with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Any public announcements before we start this meeting? I'll go in order. Mr. Chapin?
I have nothing.
No? Mr. Coyle?
Nope, excuse me, nope.
Mr. Connolly?
Just a reminder about the rabies clinic this Saturday, I believe 10 to 12 at Town Hall, $15.
All right. Mr. Damasio?
Just a reminder again that we still have early voting by mail and absentee voting going on at Town Hall. I think there's been a good turnout so far, but every day there's still absentee and early voting by mail if you want to go in and vote for the town election.
All right, thank you. All right, so the only thing that we have on the agenda this evening, and it's because of this COVID-19, is to vote to adopt Governor Baker's policy to create an expedited process to enable food service establishments to expand their premises to accommodate the service of food and alcohol in designated areas. And Mr. Lambiase will ask you to expound on that, please, if you don't mind.
Yes, and hopefully everybody got, I forwarded an email that had a couple of attachments. There's just some minor changes. What you'll be voting tonight is to approve the outdoor dining policy titled Town of Abington Board of Selectmen Policy Procedures and Rules for Use of Outdoor Space for Food and Alcohol Services, as presented by the town manager. So that being said, as we had discussed earlier in the week, Governor Baker did sign an executive order. This was the intention of this was to expedite the process for getting the restaurants to open. The expectation that phase 2 will begin very soon. I believe that it will have, we're expecting to hear Saturday from the governor, and he may hopefully give us the exact date, and it could be as early as Monday. So that being said, phase 2 of opening, that includes opening restaurants amongst other businesses, will only allow for outdoor seating at the restaurants. So in preparation for that, there has been, over the last couple of days, a House bill, a Senate House bill, and sort of some minor changes back and forth on what the final allowance will be that we can do to expedite this. And ultimately, the policy and procedures and rules that I emailed to you earlier today from our town council is what our best guess is that out of what the final bill and what the final order will be that's signed by the governor, that's going to allow us to do. What this does, these procedures and rules will allow any of the restaurants in town to apply to me, to my office, and then in consultation with police, fire, Board of Health, building, zoning, we will review the application for temporary outdoor seating. So if they don't already have an outdoor seating area, or if they want to expand on an existing outdoor seating area, if they follow these guidelines, we'll be able to approve that. It will come with some restrictions and some caveats. There'll be no outdoor entertainment allowed along with this unless you already have outdoor seating with outdoor entertainment allowed. There'll be some hours that'll regulate this. We'll be looking to make sure that obviously we don't have any problems with parking, ADA regulations, things like that. Like I said, this is temporary, so it will only be in effect until such time as either the orders are lifted by the governor, or the board rescinds it, or November 1st. The second part of it is the consumption of the alcohol. So any restaurant that does this, that is in possession of a alcohol beverage license, whether it be beer and wine or all alcohol, in a separate separately, we will have to approve that on a case-by-case basis. However, that being said, it will only take a vote of your board. It's not something that will be streamlined to the point where I can just approve it. It will have to go to the board. I've already put it on your agenda for Monday night, so.
Started right off, man.
Excuse me?
Your call started right off.
I've already put it in the agenda for Monday night. So any establishments that are already in the queue, and we do have some, and any that come in between now and then, I may ask for you to approve them on Monday night. And again, this will all be contingent upon the governor saying that phase 2 has begun and the governor signs the bill, and that outdoor restaurant and outdoor seating is allowed. So there were 2 attachments, and as you'll see, one of the attachments spells out those procedures and rules. There's 18 items in there. Basically, what it says in a nutshell is that, again, like I said, restaurants that already have permits in outdoors areas can continue to use that. So they'll have no action that they have to take unless they want additional outdoor area or an additional space. But there are some guidelines and some checklists that go with this that have been put together by this state, and they are in, distance apart for the tables, distance apart, what when you have to wear a mask, when you don't have to wear a mask, how often do the servers have to clean up what they can, use, and, what the procedures are if you're going to be walking about the areas and going to use the restrooms and stuff. So all those procedures will be incorporated and are incorporated in this and are part of the ultimate permit that are given to the establishments. One of the requirements is that we are going to get a plan that's going to, from each individual restaurant. The plan will show the location of the proposed dining area, the size of the dining area, and the number of seats and tables. They have to submit that mass COVID-19 checklist, show that they do comply with that and comply with the social distancing program. The outdoor dining areas are located outside the building envelope. They can be on a sidewalk, patio, deck, lawn, or parking area or other outdoor space. Provided that, however, if a parking lot is used, there'll be no reduction again in handicapped accessible parking. The applicant must show that they actually have legal right of access to the space that they're using, either through ownership, lease, or written permission of the owner. Outdoor dining may be allowed on public sidewalks within the town's public right-of-way or any other town-owned property. That'd be a separate license, then they would have to come through you specifically for permission to do that. I don't anticipate that that's going to, that situation's going to arise.
If I could interrupt real quick.
You can.
Kevin Torchy, Tim Chapin is trying to get back into the meeting. Can you let him in? Sorry to interrupt you, Scott, but he
It's
just
quite all
texted.
right.
There he is.
There he is. Let's see. The applicant shall demonstrate that the outdoor area is adequately insured, either through a separate insurance policy or coverage under an existing policy. No outdoor entertainment, including live or recorded music, will be allowed in the outdoor area unless the applicant already has an entertainment license allowing such entertainment, or if the Board of Selectmen grants permission after a public hearing. So again, there's certain things that we won't be able to allow without going through the normal public hearing process. entertainment being one of them, use of public land obviously being one of them. Let's see. The outdoor area shall be within the control of the primary premises such that wait staff patrons shall not have to cross streets, private property, parking lots to access the outdoor area. Must be clearly visible by management from inside the establishment unless the licensee dedicates management personnel to the area. The outdoor areas shall be physically designated with ropes, fencing, or other barriers, and the restaurant shall be responsible for ensuring there is no consumption of food or alcohol outside of the designated area. The outdoor area may be provided under awnings or table umbrellas or other cover from elements, provided, however, that at least 50% of the perimeter of any covered dining space must remain open and unobstructed by any form of siding or barriers. So I think, if you wanted to erect a tent with no sides to it, they would be able to do so, or at least with 50% no sides to it. The outdoor area shall comply with all requirements of the Americans with Disability Acts and the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board. The restaurant shall comply with and enforce all rules, orders, and guidance of the governor, the Department of Public Health, and the town relative to COVID-19 safety measures, including but not limited to any applicable regulations of the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission and the Department of Public Health COVID-19 safety standards for restaurants, as may be amended from time to time. The restaurant shall be solely responsible for sanitizing the tables and chairs after each use, cleaning the outdoor area and securing tables, chairs, and equipment when the area is not in use. All other regulations and permit conditions, including hours of operation, shall remain in effect, and the outdoor area shall be subject to inspection by agents of the Board of Selectmen and of the Board of Health. Once approved, the conditions set forth in this policy shall become part of the license and permits for the restaurant. Any violations shall be considered a violation of the terms of said such licenses and permits. The town manager may deny any application to suspend or revoke any approval for use of outdoor space if it finds that the proposed outdoor space does not comply with the requirements of this policy or any other applicable law, including but not limited to the orders and guidance of the governor, the Department of Public Health, the Board of Health, or if the use of the outdoor spaces poses a threat to public health, safety, or welfare, or if the seating plan is likely to cause unreasonable impacts to the neighborhood. The town manager reserves the right to impose additional requirements on a case-by-case basis as may be necessary to protect public health, safety, and welfare. If any provisions of this order or the application thereof to any person or circumstance is held to be invalid, the remainder of this order, including the application of such part or provision to other persons or circumstances, shall not be effective and shall continue in full force and effect. To this end, the provisions of this order are severable. So that, in a nutshell, is our procedures and our rules. A copy of this will be given to, along with what the second half of your second attachment was, which was an actual application that we got. The town council recommends that we use. It's very thorough. It spells out what we're looking for, what the fact that we're looking for sign-offs by, Board of Selectmen, town manager, health director, police chief, fire chief, building inspector. Again, what you'd be motioning and approving tonight will be to adopt those policies and procedures. And then going forward, we will bring that list of establishments to you, particularly the ones that are looking to do food and liquor, and we'll ask you for further approval. My guess is what I will do is, like I said, we'll vet the process. We'll approve the patios, we'll approve the seating area, and then we'll issue that recommendation for the ones who are looking for all alcohol or beer and wine to you. So it'll just sort of be a package deal.
So Scott, there'll be two motions that'll have to be made, correct?
Tonight, you'll only have to make one motion. That second motion will be when I actually bring, let me see, I believe it's for when we do the liquor license, so. And that, so that one is gonna be, that second motion that's in the email, we're going to use hopefully for the first time on Monday night, and it'll simply be a list of restaurants that we've already approved, that we've vetted, that said you can have your outdoor space. And that's what's going to essentially give your blessing that they can have, it changes the liquor license. So what that does is normally any restaurant, when there's a change of premises, if you change the area or the outline of where you are already designated to serve alcohol, you have to file for what's called a change of premises. That requires typically a public hearing by this board with due notice to abutters, and it requires a process with the ABCC. All of that's being waived, and it will merely be a vote of your board at a meeting. So it's not a public hearing. It's not we're not noticing abutters. And we're not waiting for any action from the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission.
So that would be a blanket motion then, right?
Yeah, so I'll give you, my guess is on that night, you will read the motion, and then there'll be, right now, currently, I think we have 6 restaurants that are in the queue. So you'll read the name and, the owners and the names of those 6 places and their addresses, and they'll be covered under that one motion. And then on the following Monday, they're again, I don't know, like I said, we've only gotten so many, maybe 6 or 5. We may get more. Unfortunately, they'll have to wait till the following time, the following Monday. At the same token, I don't know, the governor might come out Saturday and say, we're going to wait 2 more weeks. We don't know the nature of the information coming down from the Hill has been that, it sometimes spotty, sometimes confusing, and certainly this has been. But again, they're doing their best. What they're trying to do is find a way to amend the laws so that there's no loopholes, no problems. They are working hard to expedite this and help us to, the businesses too.
And all this ends on November 1st.
The way it is now, it all ends on November 1st. Now, that being said, if for whatever reason everything opens up sooner and August comes and we're in phase 4 and everything's opened up, this board can say, okay, we're closing down, or we want to rescind the extra patio spaces, or the governor may say that, or, the other part of this isn't the big reason why restaurants have to do it. It's not only because they're only allowed outdoor space, but it appears that when they are allowed indoor space, they're probably not going to be able to fit as many people as they normally could. So this just allows them a little extra capacity. If they're running at 25 or 30% of normal capacity, it's difficult for them to make ends meet. It's a difficult business to make ends meet as it is. So, placing these restrictions on them is not making it any easier.
Scott, there's no way to approve tonight contingent on the opening of phase 2, the people that already applied.
No.
That way, I'm just saying, if the governor comes out Saturday and says, all right, you can open as of Monday morning, is there any way to get them that extra day of revenue?
No, I would say no. We haven't fully vetted. They've only just come in. There are as many questions on some of the plans that we have in place. There's certain, like I said, certain people, and it is kind of an unfair advantage, but to those who already have outdoor areas, if the governor says it's okay to open, they are going to be able to open. The Board of Health can go down there and take a quick look, and they're ready to go. It's the ones who are adding the additional space, and I would love to say yes. I guess we could go it down the list and put their names in and make it contingent upon approval, but town council might say, come back and do it again Monday night. I'm not opposed to it, but
Well, I'm not opposed to it either, but we just got this, the new rules today. They really haven't changed that much. And the application, which town council is suggesting, which we only got that today.
yeah, and that's not much different than, I think, I'm not sure if I did copy you when, what I sent out to everybody.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, so it is all the same information. It's just in a nicer form that I would be happy to, get sent out to those same 6 people tomorrow. And that's, they should easily be able to get it back to me by the end of the day.
And if somebody applied after Monday, Scott, or whatever, you said we'd have to wait for the next Monday, which
Unless we wanted to do a meeting like this again next Thursday.
every day, don't we want to do one every day?
I have no problem with that.
I thought we were meeting every day. Is that all
It
that's happening?
seems like it. I'm just kidding, but I mean, I don't know how many businesses there might, I can think of one, but and I don't know what they're going to do, but okay, I guess.
I would not be opposed to recommending that to you, though. If come Monday night when we meet, if we know at that point that I've got several more who've reached out to me that just aren't ready, we can schedule then, for sure.
That might be a good idea, so they can open up for the weekend if that's the case. So.
Yeah. And again, I find it, I think that the confusing part of it is if the governor, I find it hard to believe that he would come out on Saturday and tell restaurants, go ahead and open on Monday. I don't know how a restaurant could be prepared, even having a week in advance. It's difficult to buy all that food not knowing that you're going to be able to sell it or use it, or you want to spend the money filling your freezer.
That's why I think for sure he's going to say Monday's okay.
I would like to think so. I'd like to say, yeah.
Scott, can I ask, these are all restaurants, right? There's no private clubs or anything like that they've asked so far? You said there's 5 or 6?
They haven't asked so far, but I don't see anything that would preclude anybody who has a license, as long as they're selling food with it. I haven't seen anything either way. My thought is if they, although I think if it was the American Legion, one of the private clubs has reached out and asked about an outdoor seating area in general. And they contemplated coming to us afterwards because they just want one permanently.
Right.
So if it is an establishment and they do sell food on a regular basis and they want to set up and set a little restaurant, it basically, if they have a liquor license and a food license, I would not object to it. No. Now, again, it would have to come to the board for the alcohol part in that outside area.
Can I ask a question too? A lot of these places that may be applying, they might be using a patio now as a smoking area. So then how does that work? They might have to come up with a secondary location, or tell them they have to smoke off premises. This is something to think about, that's all. I just don't know.
Yeah, well, they'll be bound by the guidelines of, there'll be no smoking, in these areas. So if they do want to have a smoking area, it'll be up to them to figure it out somewhere else. But and typically in those areas, you're not allowed to bring your drinks with you. That perimeter that's there that exists is the perimeter that we approve, is the only place that you're allowed to have your food and drink. If you want to go have your cigarette, you got to go do that somewhere else.
Right, and not take your drink with you.
Exactly. Just like today's rules. It's no different than, current setup.
Some towns and cities are talking about blocking roads to make seating. I just want to, obviously, that's probably not going to work for the majority of people around here. You can't block 123 or 139 or anything like that.
18 already doesn't move.
And they're already slowing up traffic, but I do have
the extra lane.
I do have some concerns about businesses that do not have any, and one of them just pops out. I think of Martin's. They don't really have a parking lot. They don't have. So, I mean, I would encourage those restaurants. to reach out to us and maybe we can come up with a creative solution. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say no, but maybe we can work with them.
And
Especially something like mine doesn't have a liquor license, I don't think. So I'm just kind of throwing things out there because we're making all kinds of efforts to make it easier for the businesses. You hate to pick one business and say, I'm sorry, you're landlocked. You don't have a parking lot. You're done.
Yeah, I was thinking that, Ken, I think it was it, and I don't frequent there, but JP Ryan's, I mean, I don't think they just have a parking lot, don't they?
Yeah, but they can get creative and take, if you look at the building on the right-hand side of the parking lot, they could just block that off and use that for outside.
Okay, and I'm not, I'm trying to think of everyone. I'm even thinking, the KSC may want to do this too, and we've got a lot of things that they'd have to look at, before applying and stuff, so.
Well, that's an example. I didn't want to mention names, but now, does the KFC serve food on a regular basis?
We do serve food.
Oh, we do, okay. All right.
Yep. And we have a food service permit.
Awesome, good.
Yeah. Thank you, Ken, and I didn't want to bring it up either. I mean, because I could bring up the American Legion or,
Right.
Wherever. But I know they're trying to get information to see what they're going to do. And they may choose not to, but I don't have any idea. So at this time, but.
Yeah. A lot of these places you don't think have food, but now you mentioned that they have a good kitchen there at the Legion. I'll use an example, and they serve food on Saturdays for their meat raffles. So yeah, you're right. So and they have a patio. So I just would hate for a restaurant that doesn't have a place to go to make. If there's something in the area, maybe we as a board can work to help them get to work. Figure out a spot for them. That's all.
No, I agree. I think that's important for, not to, and I'm not saying that we're favoring one, but not to favor any, to keep them, all the same. See what will happen.
So are we ready to make a motion?
Does everybody have a copy of the motion or?
On my phone.
All right,
Yeah,
it says,
Tom, I'll make the motion that the board approve the use of outdoor. I move that the board approve the outdoor dining policy titled Town of Abington Board of Selectmen Policy Procedure and Rules for Outdoor Space for Food and Alcohol Service as presented by the town manager.
I'll second that motion.
okay, any further discussion?
Is that going to be contingent upon the anything at all, or I mean, does it actually happen? Does Governor Baker actually?
Nothing's been signed yet. So
Okay.
this is, and I guess that's the caveat, if you want to just toss that in at the end, that this is pending approval by the governor.
And
And Tim said that.
yeah, it doesn't have to really be added because the policy says that's approved by you.
Yeah.
So you would approve it Monday morning or, Sunday,
Or not, if I
at midnight, whenever it goes into effect.
Can I ask you a question, Tim? Where are you? This giant bug is flying around your head. My God.
There's one fly. There's one fly in this office, and it's just flying all around. I've had the cleaners come vacuum right next to the office. I've had flies come around, and I've had my Wi-Fi go out. So
I thought
yeah,
it was one of those
it's a good
killer,
night.
whatever they call them.
Tim, is that your office that I'm
It's
aware
not a
of?
murder hornet. Yes, it's my office.
Murder wasp.
No, the one that I'm aware of?
I got Ed with me. No,
Point
not
of
my
order.
satellite
There's a motion
office.
on the
I'm
floor.
in my real office.
Oh, not your satellite office, okay.
No.
All in
not my
favor?
satellite office. Oh, there's a motion on the board.
No, there was still further discussion. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please. Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Wow.
Just like that.
Wait. One more thing.
Oh, jeez.
One more thing.
I already said my motion.
I
Who
just want
hired
to
you?
mention that there is a senior parade planned for Saturday. I don't know, the route is taking them up Route 18 and around all the different schools. It's going to bring them by the high school. I believe it's starting at the high school right at the same time that the rabies clinic is starting.
10 o'clock at the high school.
Yeah, so just want to put it out there for anybody who sees this is, you know what, be patient, wave to the seniors, congratulate them. They've had a tough year too, and it's, you know, what's supposed to be one of the best times of their lives has been, you know, changed a little bit, but just give them all a congratulations and give them a little space on the road. Most of them are new drivers.
Right, and Scott, don't we have something else, Monday?
We have a selectmen meeting.
No, don't we have, not a, it's like a rally, isn't it, for,
You mean, are you referring to the email that I sent or the text?
yes.
The text that I sent that it was private invite only?
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I missed that part. Glad you informed me.
You got nominated.
And it's
I
Sunday.
don't know if you noticed that.
Yes,
I seconded that motion.
but I'm not available. But that, all right, thank you, Scott. I missed that. My apologies.
It's actually Sunday, isn't
Can't
it?
wait for June 23rd.
19 days.
There you go. All right, a motion to adjourn was made and seconded. All those in favor?
What, no discussion?
You can if you want.
I'm a little punch drunk now.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye, please.
Aye.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.